Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph Labella.
And I'm Ron Sen. Now you may think we take sports too seriously, but not as seriously as 5-year-old Emma Burton from Kansas. Her teacher asked her to color a Kansas Jayhawk, stay in the lines, use your crayon, and she said, "No, I'm a Kansas State fan. I don't color Kansas Jayhawks. I want to do the Kansas State Powerhawk." What can you say? A trip to the principal's office for a 5-year-old for not coloring the Kansas Jayhawk.
Unbelievable. You get to these states, Ron, that's how they are. I mean, they're big-time college fans, and Boston's a little different, this area, but you get out to Kansas.
When I was in the Navy, I played basketball in the, adult league with an endocrinologist from Kansas. His name was Jim Hayes. He was the most quietest, mildest mannered, nice guy. He'd get on the basketball court. He got kicked out of the league for being a crazy person. He had Kansas Jayhawk blood in him. He was a nutcase. What can I say? He's a great guy, but can you imagine being kicked out of an adult basketball league? Well, the story of the week is a local product who finally got his big chance, Jeremy Lin, number 4 on your program at Harvard. Really an unusual story. He comes from California, has 2 parents who are 5'7", and somehow he grew into a 6'3" adult, and he led his team from Palo Alto to the California State Championship and managed not to be recruited by anybody. Because after all, he was a short Asian kid, and everybody knows that Asian American kids can't play basketball. What? So he ended up at Harvard playing for Tommy Amaker and turned out to be a pretty good player. Came up with some big plays, big three-pointer to win a game against St. Mary's, beat Boston College. Somehow Harvard's become the basketball power that beats Boston College annually. And now he set the record for most points in the first 5 games, has led the Knicks to a 7-game winning streak, and last night had 10 and 13 assists. So hats off to Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, he only took 7 shots yesterday, but had 13 assists, scored 10 points. My thinking is, though, when Anthony comes back, he's going to take away from his game. That's going to be the problem there, because right now he's the type of point guard who likes handling the ball, dishing off. Now, he wasn't supposed to be a good shooter, but I heard he's worked with a shooting coach to make him a better shooter, and he's been consistent for the Knicks in those 7 games. But he's not going to be as comfortable playing with Anthony as he is now. So that's going to be a situation there, too, when Anthony comes back.
Well, nobody's going to say that he's an all-star. Some people are saying he's a system product. Other people are saying he's going to be a big turnover magnet, because what happens is right now he doesn't go to his left very well, and he's averaging more turnovers than you'd like for an elite point guard. With D'Antoni's system in New York, which was previously, I think, in Phoenix, he likes the point guard who was previously Nash to use the pick and roll, and then if the point guard can go to the basket, they do that. If they can't, they can either dish down to the forward or pitch out for 3-pointers. But even if you're a system product, if you're being very successful at it, where's the beef?
Right, and with him, to me, it's no big deal. I mean, to the Asian Americans, it's huge. They were all at the last game. It was unbelievable. They sold out, didn't they?
To Floyd Merriweather, it's no big deal either. Merriweather, the boxing great, said, well, all he does is everything that black players do every night. He's just only special because he's Asian American. Other than that, he's nothing. Basically, that's what he said. And then there's been a lot of controversy on that. All I know is New York fans are really happy these days because they've got a winning team. The jokes are flying. Like, for example, Spike Lee's next film will only have Asian Americans in it.
But the way I look at it, I don't even look at it that way. As a fan, basketball fan, you like to watch good players. I watch him play. I'm happy for the Asian Americans. That's what I'm happy for. Because, if you saw them live, they had the flags out last night in last night's game. I think there was like 5,000 of them there, it seemed like. They sold out the place. Was it Toronto? Where did they play? I think in Toronto they sold out.
Toronto
they sold out.
Well, in Toronto, he hit a 3-pointer with 0.5 seconds left to win the game. It was just as dramatic a moment as you're going to see probably outside the Final Four.
Probably like Tebow, it's almost like that in a way, but, different.
And the emphasis is, first of all, he went to Harvard. He was an economics major, so he wasn't a dummy. And he is a kid who emphasizes priorities and values. He's very religious. He's sort of the real deal Tebow.
Is he the first Asian American I heard player?
Right.
I mean, there have been players from China. There have been 3, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3.
Right.
But
so and of course, as Celtics fans, we want to see the Knicks lose. I mean, I'm happy to see the Knicks.
I know. You had to go to the Knicks. I'm
know.
sick of the Giants. I can't believe I'm a Yankee fan. That's what I was thinking about the other day. I'm so sick of the Giants and their fans, and I'm saying, how can I like the Yankees?
Well, there was some analysis of how he plays. Why is he successful? And unlike many players who go slowly into the pick and then accelerate off the pick to get to the basket, he goes hard into the pick and then slows down and then can see what opens up. He has a very unorthodox shot going to the basket. He likes to take those little floaters, which are tough shots, but he's getting it done. It's good, feel good for a lot of people, and especially for Madison Square Garden.
And he's a very smart player. It's good to see.
Well, sometimes we talk a lot about teams, and sometimes we talk more about personalities. And this week seems to be more on personalities. Another lead story this week was Oil Can Boyd. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Boyd was a pitcher for the Red Sox back in the 80s. And for those of you who don't know what an oil can is in baseball terminology, an oil can is a beer can. So when Jerry Remis talks about getting oiled up after the game, he's not talking about going to the Citgo for a lube job for his car. He's talking about having a couple of brewskis. But Boyd revealed that perhaps 2/3 of his games he was taking cocaine before the game.
He's a character and a half, though. You don't think the owners knew that? They knew. What are they going to do about it?
Well, I don't know
how
how
long
the guy,
as he's pitching good and successful.
How else did he stay so skinny? Boyd is probably most famous for his comments after a game in Cleveland in the old Municipal Stadium. There was a fog rolling in off of Lake Erie, and they asked Boyd for his comments, and he said, "Well, that's what happens when you build a ballpark next to the ocean." But he was a character.
I love watching him pitch, though.
And he was pretty successful.
He was good.
He was the forerunner for the current beer can squad.
What did he weigh, 160 pounds?
Oh, soaking wet.
He was lighter than Martinez.
And, of course, this week we have Bobby Valentine taking over as skipper of the Red Sox, about to lead the Sox into spring training. And a lot of the Red Sox players are, quote, frowning, end quote, because they have to work pretty hard at spring training. It's very challenging. Unlike last year when they sleptwalked through spring training and lost 10 of their first 12.
He's the type of coach, manager, if they're playing well, they're going to love playing with him. If they go in a slump, they're not going to like playing with him at all. I mean, he's a nut when his teams are losing. But if they play well like they should, it'll be fine.
Well, it was interesting when he was managing in Japan. In Japan, if you go to baseball practice, you go there at 9 in the morning and you finish up at 6 at night or something, and you have 6 hours of batting practice and sprints. And
they loved him out there, didn't they?
Right, they loved him there. But he said, look, we got to tone it down a little. We're practicing too much. So he's looking for the happy medium. The other thing in Japan, they had high fences between the players and the fans, and he broke that down. He was trying to get a closer relationship between the players and the fans. So he understands the game. He's a good baseball guy, but he's also into the whole marketing aspect. So I think he should fit okay with the Red Sox mindset.
The one player for the Red Sox who really should watch it is Beckett. He'll be great with Beckett as long as Beckett does his job. If he sees Beckett screwing around like he did last year, he's going to be his worst enemy. He's just that type of a manager, Ron. And Beckett knows it. I mean, Beckett is not happy that he's the manager. But again, Valentine will be his best friend as long as Beckett's doing the job.
I think that most players want to be as successful as they can. Now, obviously, some players, like Beckett, who's enjoyed a ton of success early in his career, may feel like, I don't need a manager, it's all about me.
He's babied Beckett.
Right. A younger player like Buchholz has come out and said, I think some more guidance and structure may be good for our team. And Buchholz hasn't established himself as a reliable major league pitcher. In one good year, last year he was hurt most of the year.
Les is another guy. I mean, Valentine, he could work well with him. He's going to know it. He's going to know right off the bat. You don't think these players talk to other players. They're going to know. They're going to know that they have to do their job with him, and if they don't do their job, they're going to hear it. It's going to be a little different than the past few years.
Well, and it seems like some of the players are more willing to throw Francona under the bus now, say that, well, maybe things were a little bit too loose and we needed more structure, as it were. And, the Red Sox, they came out of the chute really slow and they finished terrible with 7 wins in September. So they had to make changes.
Yeah, they're talking about the prescriptions that he was taking, and he might have been doing too much with that, too. And he might have been, at times, he really wasn't the same person, they're saying, this past year. So who knows about that?
Well, how many managers really stay with the same team for, really long period of time? I think Torrey obviously had a long tenure with the Yankees and seemed to have good control of the clubhouse.
They respected him.
Right. Tom Kelly in Minnesota did a great job.
Madden now with Tampa.
Madden,
But Francona was a good manager, though, Ron.
Right.
He was a good guy, a good manager, perfect manager for players, and they turn on him at the end, and the owners did too. So
it's not going to be an easy time for the Red Sox to make the playoffs. The Yankees are strong. They've improved their pitching a lot. Tampa's got tremendous pitching.
They have the best pitching in baseball, Tampa.
Tampa's got about 8 guys who could be starters. They've got guys in the minors who'd be starting for other teams.
But what gets me, don't run? They say how great Madden is, and Madden, they've made it 4 out of the last 5 years. They made the playoffs. Well, who wouldn't with that pitching staff? And he's got some pretty good players there too. But that pitching staff's been the best in baseball over the last 4 or 5 years. Who wouldn't? Now, how hard is it to manage a team when you have a pitching staff like that?
Well, there's no doubt that having great pitching is a big part of a team's success. And right now, the Red Sox are still looking at the back end of their rotation. Today was the beginning of the Ross Ohlendorf era. Ohlendorf, a journeyman pitcher for the San Diego Padres. Kind of another mediocre pitcher that they've added to the roster, along with Silva and a bunch of other guys who nobody ever heard of.
Yeah, but how does Baltimore feel, though, Ron? They have to go up against now the Red Sox, the Yankees, Tampa, Toronto, when the pitching staffs are they have 4 of the top probably 7 pitching staffs in baseball right there.
Well, if I were Baltimore, I'd think about moving out the fences.
Well, they got a real good general manager now who will help them.
Well, when we look at the Bruins, the major personality on the Bruins is Tim Thomas. And last night he came up big in the shootout, stopping 3 shots and allowing the Bruins to win the shootout. Of course, mostly Thomas has been shooting his mouth off lately, although he's not doing interviews.
Yeah, Sagan got the only goal in overtime. But Thomas, he's a little strange. You see that. I didn't know much about him because I didn't follow the Bruins that much until last year. I mean, I turned them on and watched maybe a period before that. But you could tell that he's just strange. He's a strange guy.
Well, it's tough to say, you're entitled to your own opinions and you're going to keep them private, except you're not keeping them private when you're posting them on Facebook. So I can't talk about my opinions, but I'm going to post them, and you can't talk about them with me.
Yeah, that goes back to what I just said, Ron. He's strange. He's weird. So that's how he's going to handle himself. He's going to say something stupid, which he shouldn't say. And then he's going to come over there and get upset at all the reporters for asking him questions. Well, but he's weird. That's it.
And if somebody said, what's your or my opinion about, some issue of the day, the rightful answer is, why would anybody care what your opinion or my opinion is?
Right.
We'll be right back with our next segment.
On and off the court, Visionary Basketball Group delivers programs that empower players with skills for athletic and personal success. Our players undergo learning experiences that position them for positive lifelong achievement on and off the court. With a year-round training philosophy, BBG can assist you in reaching your full potential as a player with conditioning, basketball fundamentals, position-specific training, and skills and drills taught by the best coaches in New England. For more information, visit our website at visionarybasketball.com or drop into our new athletic performance center located at 152 Tremont Street, Melrose, Mass. VBG, complete your vision.
Welcome to our sports conversation. Tonight we have Melrose High School basketball coach Mike Kasprzak with us. Welcome.
Welcome, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're having a wonderful season so far. Tell us a little bit about your team.
I think you guys have seen we have an exciting team, excitable at times. We've really worked on that, and we weren't the experts, so to speak, that were picking some of the teams this year. We weren't really in the conversation with the top teams, the Lexingtons and Readings, but we were that next team to watch, and I'm really pleased that some good things have happened. We've created some good opportunities for ourselves, and we can finish off the season tomorrow with a chance to be the best team in the league, statistically, so to speak, in the large and the small if we beat Watertown. So we're pleased about that, and one thing we're working on is composure, our reaction to adversity on the court, and trying to control our emotions. So I think that's as important as winning games for us right now. So,
what's your record right now?
We have 14-2 overall.
And you play Watertown tomorrow,
Yes.
and that's your 17th. Now, who do you play after that?
After that, Monday and Tuesday, we host a tournament. It's called the President's Day Tournament, and we have North Shore Tech, Ipswich, and Triton Regional coming in. We play North Shore Tech Monday at 7 o'clock.
Monday at 7.
Yeah.
That's good. And then do you have a 20th game or just?
We do. We play Tewksbury, who actually clinched to get into Division II for the first time, I think the coach said, in 20 years or so. So we're playing them on Thursday. Not looking ahead too much, so I have to think about what time that game is. But it's Thursday. They're in, like I said, to the tournament, so that should be a good game for us to tune up.
Well, we noticed that you have some terrific athletes
Yes.
and great talent, but it's good to see that you're working on the discipline aspect with the kids. It's tough. They're young kids, and as you said, can be excitable at times. But especially when you're playing better teams in close games, you can't be crossing the line, especially with the officials.
Yeah. This is my 10th year as a varsity coach. I've never seen a team win who's baiting the officials and talking back to the officials. And that's whether you talk about my team, the Boston Celtics, whoever. So that's something we've talked about each day. We have an NFL scout coming in to talk about what he did when he looked for the intangibles in certain guys, what was the separating characteristics, and that guy's going to come in, or that professional's going to come in, I believe, Monday and talk to our kids about what he looked for in professional players. Actually was with the Patriots. And yeah, I mean, it's a message we've had quite a bit this year, and we've had our ups and downs with it. But you can't keep preaching the message. And the nice thing about high school is you always have the next game, and you hope and keep working on it that the kids they get the message at some point.
Do they pretty much bounce right back? Yeah, I've noticed over the last several games where it affects them where there's a non-call. Like last game, one of your players got whacked in the back going in for a shot. He could have got hurt. Yep. It was definitely intentional.
Right.
Your player didn't react too bad. He said something to the ref, but he didn't say it embarrassing the ref. You get hit with a technical. Yeah. What do you say to the ref there? I mean,
Yeah, I'd rather the player not say anything.
Right, in that situation.
To be honest with you, I mean,
when you see a deliberate foul like that.
At some point, there is give and take in coaching and refereeing, and the referees know that. There's some give and take. You are allowed to speak and ask certain questions. So you might wait for a better opportunity, or if it was a really, really blatant thing, you might try to get their attention, and a good referee will come over and explain why he might have missed a call. And at that point, as both professionals, you give them the courtesy, you give them the benefit of the doubt. But again, the player has no place there to say anything. We're just an extension of school, and they're the adult in the situation, and that's what we preach. And sometimes the coaches, we might, try to get a referee's attention if we don't feel, that they're, seeing the whole floor. But that should be our job and not a player's job. Yeah.
I love to see the attacking, changing defenses, and you seem to have a lot of players who also enjoy that type of style. On the other hand, it seems like the team may be a little bit weak shooting free throws. That's an area I'm sure you're working on.
We just left playing the John Killalay 3-man free throw game. A couple weeks ago, there was an article with the gentleman, his name escapes me, who was working with the Weston, I believe the Weston girls team. Right. And he had the advice for Rondo about just keeping your eyes on the basket. Somebody has charted us since the beginning to the end. You guys might have better stats, but the second half, I believe we are a lot better in hitting that first free throw, which I believe when you get in the tournament, that first one is the important one, especially in the bonus. But just keeping your eyes on the basket, is something that's very, very simple. Instead of looking down and doing your routine and bouncing the ball, we've found that's something that has really helped us in the confidence. And sometimes it's not, it might look like a skill thing. Sometimes it's a confidence thing. And I think that's a big part of it. Again, these are 15, sometimes 16, 17-year-old guys, and we look at them and they can do these good things in the open court, but the free throw, for whatever reason, it's become a, we can talk about, philosophy and AAU and that type of thing, and, playing more and practicing less type of thing, but the free throw has suffered, that's for sure, and that's coming from a guy that spent hours doing it, and we certainly work on it. So I believe in the tournament we'll get there. I really do. I think the Wilmington game down the stretch, I think we were 6 for 7 when it really mattered, so that was a good sign. So.
You know what I've noticed in a couple of your games lately, that Adams and Sherlock are getting off to slow starts. They're probably letting the game, you probably tell them, let the game come to you early, get everybody involved. Then it seems like after the first period, the team really gets in sync. Yeah,
we, I think, sometimes younger players want to shoot first. We have some good forwards. The forwards, we were razzing our guards, are really setting up the fast break. The fast break's something that we really spend a lot of time on. It's obviously one of our strengths, if not, the best thing we do. But the guards sometimes need to acknowledge who's giving them the ball, who's throwing those outlet passes, and we've made a concerted effort to go inside early in that first quarter. So that might be what you're referring to get the ball to those guys and reward them early, get them touches, and get them involved in the game. And we always say, if what's the worst thing? It's going to come back out to you, and they'll find you at some point. But we want to get the ball inside more, and I think you'll see that tomorrow night too. So.
We had a very impressive win against Wakefield over there, and we kind of struggled at home, but the effort, particularly down the stretch after a tough third period with some marginal officiating, it was really a tribute to you and the team.
Yeah, I thought that was our best composure for the year, and again, that word is going to come up all year. I thought our fourth quarter defense was great, and we actually executed really well in the half court, and that's something we continued up in Wilmington in a game where that's Wilmington's strength. And the things that we're proud of is out-rebounding teams in the last 4 minutes. I think it's only happened once. You alluded to the Wakefield loss. We really didn't do a good job in the fourth quarter rebounding there, but defense and rebounding in the fourth quarter, those will always keep you in a game. So we preach that. We do a lot of situational play in practice, and you're not going to, obviously not going to win them all, but if you do those things, they'll keep you in the game. Yeah.
As an athlete, in this case a basketball player, how important to you is confidence, playing with confidence? Because that's what it seemed like at home against Wakefield. It just seemed like the team wasn't confident, and Wakefield was extremely. Then it just switched over, and at Wakefield, your players, especially in the second half, are playing with a ton of confidence, and Wakefield just couldn't hit anything.
I think it's a good point. I think it can swing on a dime in basketball. It could be one play. And we go back to the Wakefield game. It was a 4-point game with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. We watched that film 100 times and trying to show the kids we're right there with them with 3 minutes going into the, leading to the fourth, and they make a big three-pointer, and our shoulders just kind of drop, and you can see that's the play right there. And then what are you going to do from that play? What's your answer or your counter going to be? And we came down and threw one right back up. Again, something we preach is if they hit a big three, we don't need to match it. And that's something that we work on again, things we have to work on, and that's, matching that momentum. We're better off pushing the ball right back at a team, getting the ball inside or swinging the ball and working on a transition game than just chucking up threes. And that's what we tried to do that game. As a matter of fact, the fourth quarter, our next 5 shots were three-pointers, and that's not us. We're not going to be real successful.
If I were coaching against you, I would say, number one, we have to take away transition. Number two, I'm going to play zone, trying to make outside shots, and 3, try to attack inside and get Gillis and Perot and foul.
Don't tell everybody.
No, I mean, it's easy to say. It's like saying I'm going to throw a slider on the outside corner on the black every time, and okay, nobody can hit that.
And some teams have done that to us, and I think there's been times where we do a good job. If we move the ball against the zone and make 4 passes or more, and again we chart little goofy things like that. But we make 4 passes or more, we generally get really good shots, and they're not always the three shot. And I'm not that I'm against the 3-point shot, but I think statistically you got to show and demonstrate you can make that shot. We've done that at times, but I like better if we go inside, we attack the foul line, the high-low, and then the ball comes back out. I think we're a better team that way. So
Yeah, that's what I noticed in one of your games where Perot and Gillis were working really well together against the zone.
Yep.
To get some easy baskets
Yeah.
from the baseline, then Perot rolling down the middle.
Yep.
That worked well. And then once they start cheating on that, you kick it out to your shooters.
Yeah, and just today, you know, kicking it back out doesn't mean standing and waiting for that ball to come to you. And I think that's, you know, I'll keep saying it, is it's sometimes that playing all the time instead of practicing those mid-range jump shots in the off season. And what we're working on, is going to the high post, throwing it to that short wing on the opposite side. I think it's a much better shot.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's, like you said earlier, it's easier said than done. Kids don't always see, you know, even the pros don't always see the floor as well as everyone thinks they do. And sometimes that three looks good, but if you just step down, you made a 14-foot shot instead of a, you know.
Well, the big thing is you play a very exciting brand of basketball. I think the fans are getting back in. I mean, you're seeing more attendance. They've got the end zone seats out there now, and it's certainly a product that's fun to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, last year we weren't that team. You know, you guys probably saw us last year. We averaged about 54 points a game, but you know, a lot of that was by design because of we were talking earlier about Andrew Skoka, and you know, you got to wait for a kid like that to get down the floor sometimes, and he was such a you almost call him like a 5-tool player, like the baseball guys. He could do everything really. He was our high assist guy last year as a 6'8" guy. So we had to wait for him, and you know, we had rules last year, and you know, the ball can't be shot until it hits his hands. The ball can't be shot until everybody touches it. Yeah, those rules are a little different this year. You got to roll with your personnel, and I think that's something we've done. The staff's done well, is really look at. I've had a team like this at Newburyport that could score 75 or 80 points, and then the following year you get the big, slow guys. So you have to adjust with that, and you know, I think the kids, it took some time at the beginning because the returning players were used to playing like last year, and you know, about 2 or 3 weeks in, I think things kind of clicked that, you know, the transition game is where it's at, but you know, obviously we have to work on the other.
I think it's great to be a system coach if you're in college and you can choose the players to fit your system, but as you're saying, in high school you got to adjust the system to the players, not the other way around. Yeah,
and some coaches won't, and they can be successful. I mean, Al Skinner at BC was running the flex regardless, but he did get to pick a lot of his guys. I have friends that coach and they'll run the same stuff each year and be successful. I just, you know, humbly believe you got to do with you have to go with what your players demonstrated is their skill level, and I think that's what we've done here. But that doesn't mean we're going to hang our hat just on running. You know, I think that Wilmington game, we were without one of our better scorers, and we didn't get many fast break points, but we still did a nice job offensively, and it was more of a half-court type of game. So that was good for us. I think being in both games is going to prepare you well for the tournament, is being in a slower game and, you know, being able to handle the ball and the pressure. So.
Plus, you have a lot of good athletes on that team. You can have a lineup where, especially when you have Jones playing with Gillis and Perot, you can rebound with anyone down there.
Yeah.
They move the ball well. They all can finish. Jones has a nice little jump shot in there too. Plus, you can hit the three. But to me, when he gets down low with those two guys, you can can bang the boards. And then you have Sherlock Adams and Welsh. To me, I got on Sherlock a little in the Wakefield game the first half because I thought he was just letting them get to him.
Right.
I mean, to me, he has a talent to be Division II player. You know, and to me, in the first half, he was playing like he didn't know that.
Right. The
second half, especially when Adams went out, he really took control of that offense. Even though he didn't score much, he broke down the defense a number of times. That's one good thing about your team. You have players who can just break down that defense.
I think the thing I was really proud of Matt in that game is we put him at the 1 late in the game, and he didn't score, I think he was 4 points in the game, but he had some assists. He didn't turn the ball over in that stretch that we made that run and pulled away. And that's what I was most proud of, is keeping the composure and not being tempted to throw that fancy pass, just make the simple play and be a leader out there. So.
He played. I thought that was the best he played.
Well, I told him that. It's funny. Good point. I told him that, and he kind of rolled his eyes. And I think kids equate scoring, and he's no different. I was no different. We were probably, none of us were different. But it's good to know that you can get 4 points and 2 assists, and really be playing steady. Aaron Welch, I think he's at his best when he doesn't score.
Right.
And I don't say that in a disrespectful way. if he gets 0 points and 8 assists, he's really helping us. You know, that means he's playing defense. So
especially with players like Perot. Now, how long has Perot been playing basketball?
You know, that varies. He's 16, so I think kids say 4 years, 3 years, maybe 5. But fast learner. He's a fast learner. He's a very smart kid, young man, and does well in school. Great family, and he really buys into stuff. Never complains, and
he causes big time problems for teams.
Yeah, he's got a lot of heart too. You know,
well, he's got great quickness. He's
yes.
a tremendous defender, and for a young player, he's got a real good touch around the basket.
Yes, yeah, and you mentioned his quickness, his anticipation and skills, which I think that's another skill like free throws that, he anticipates that next pass being made as good as anybody, and creates a lot of havoc and gets his hands in the passing lane. So
you must lead the league in steals, your team. Sherlock has to steal at least 5 balls a game, especially when you're in your trap.
There's been some games we're in the 20s, and if you can get if you get a team to turn the ball over 10 to 12, 15 times, various ways, that's good. But I think I go back to the forwards are really doing a good job denying that ball into the post or the high post. We're not always good at it. I think it's been a couple of games we really that was our Achilles heel. But I think that the guards get rewarded with the steals and the breakaways, but the forwards are the guys doing a lot of the dirty work. But as a whole, I'm pleased. I think we're about, statistics are kind of lie, but we're holding teams to about 50, 53 points a game, other than a couple games. So we're happy about that, but we can certainly do better, especially defensive rebounding at times. We fall asleep at times there.
Who are the teams to beat in the Division II?
Well, there's an article, I guess, this Sunday coming out in the Globe North, and one of the guys called me there, and of course you have New Mission and Brighton. Those are the North Andover. Those are the top 3 teams record-wise. We fall in right after that, but we're certainly not putting ourselves in that category. And we're just kind of going one day at a time with ourselves, and tomorrow's the only game. But obviously everybody thinks ahead and thinks about matchups, but I think you got to think of the teams in our league, the Reddings and Belmont.
Are they Division
really
II?
Well. Yeah, Reddings Division II. Belmont, who's won, I believe, 5 out of 6, and given a lot of problems to teams the second half. They could be good. Arlington just got in and beat a tough Arlington Catholic team the other night by I think 10, and beat Reading by 20. So it's going to be a tough first round for a lot of teams. I don't think there'll be any gimme type games, but we're just looking to win one game. It hasn't been done in a long time
right?
here. Yeah, it's real fun. Yeah.
Well, we try to get our kids to at a young age to understand that you can't give the other team easy shots,
right?
And you need quality possessions every time down the floor.
Yeah, those are the team that turns it over less, and obviously makes more shots, makes their free throws down the stretch, and stays off the refs. Those are the teams that are going to move on.
And how's Andy Skolka doing? Where is he now? And did he play football and basketball?
Yeah, no, he went to Worcester Academy as a postgrad. I believe he was the only postgraduate down there, the only student. They usually have a dozen or so, but he's they call him like the mayor down there. He's
really?
Really took to him quickly. He's a captain on the Worcester Academy basketball team, and he's been offered a scholarship at Bryant College. He called me recently and said we're opening with Arizona next year in Arizona. So
wow.
I think the next game's Providence, Boston College. So he got his wish, and he earned it, and we're thrilled for him as part of the Melrose family. I think it really shows that you can stay in a public school and really do some good things academically as well as athletically, and he's a shining star, for our program, no doubt. And we're thrilled for him, and we'll follow his career there.
Great, that's super.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, and we look forward to watching the team the rest of the way.
Thank you for the support.
Thanks for coming in, and good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Here now.
Thanks.
Athletic Evolution, giving you the edge.
You think you can't when you claim shit talking big words, it's even a deceiver. I ain't no pleaser, you teaser. Cause my head is noisy and my ears are ringing and I'm facing first. My heart singing to the sound of the factory body heat. You should, you could, they say no way. Here's why you lie, itty bitty man, what you gonna do? Cause I just don't feel up to it today. No way, don't feel like going down. Who's to say it's my day anyway? Oh, I don't care who's watching me today. Don't even talk to me today. Who's to say it's my day anyway? Take a step back and look into the shades who we whack. And we're the problem ways. May I say that I'm told you disguised in a world really not so rude. Time to shine, take your makeup off, grab your wine, cause you love pause. Things have been tough, long enough. All this hate grows like a tumor. Really should have something sooner. And having the cancer like a desert on road. Yo, nourish yourself while you watch us look in the right place, right face. Cause all this biggin' is wingin' big. I just don't feel up to it today. No way, don't feel like going down. Who's to say it's my day anyway? Oh, I don't care who's watching me today. Don't even talk to me today. Who's to say it's my day anyway? Yeah. You can tell I won't hear you. I'm not listening. You can't make me. I don't want to. I'm not giving in. 'Cause I just don't feel up to it today. No way, don't feel like going down. Who's to say it's my day anyway? I don't care who's watching me today. Don't even talk to me today. Who's to say it's my day anyway? I just don't feel up to it today. No way, don't feel like going down. Who's to say it's my day anyway? It's my day anyway. It's my day anyway. It's my day
Welcome back. Tonight, on another segment of Sports Conversation, we have Nicole Trudeau of Athletic Evolution, the volleyball specialist. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Talk to us about the program.
So we are a brand new club program in Massachusetts playing for NERVA, New England Regional Volleyball, and we started the program based on the fact that, you know, we at Athletic Evolution are performance training kids, so getting them to be faster, stronger, quicker, and really just building their overall athleticism. And we have, because of that, we've turned out lots of people with their college scholarships. And when we're talking to Division I, II, and III coaches, they said to us, particularly with the female athletes, when they get into school and they get to that collegiate level, they're just not as strong as the other kids. So we decided that we would model a team evolution as our club brand. So we have volleyball and we have lacrosse, and it combines everything that you would see at a D1 program. So we do all of the athletic training, the performance training, and then we have our club sports on top of it. So they're training 2 days a week, 2 hours a day, pure performance training, athletic enhancement, and then they do their volleyball training. So they have skills for 2 hours on Friday, and then they have their typical volleyball practice.
So if we could look back from a year out and say, okay, this was your branding vision. What's your branding vision for your company?
So our branding vision is to build stronger, more well-rounded volleyball players, and really make sure that they're getting everything that it takes to be a top-notch athlete. And that's not just the person that can, you know, knock boards out of the ground when you hit the ball and can go diving for a ball and, you know, save it. It's the kid that performs well in the classroom, performs well in the gym, and then also on the volleyball court.
Are they all females that you're working with?
Yes.
Now,
yes.
What is the age group?
So we have 8 and older. So right now for our teams, we'll do skills with the younger kids, the sub-high school level, but then we also have 4 teams. So we have a 14s team, 14 and under, which has some kids that are all the way down to the age of 9 who are awesome and so energetic about the sport. And then we have 2 16s teams and a 17s team.
So do you break that up into sessions, certain amount of time of the year, and different sessions, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so the club season for volleyball is basically from January through May. And so they'll train for that. Then after May, it will be the Team Evolution training model. So they can still come and we'll have open play dates, we'll have individual skills sessions that you can do. So if you're a setter, you can come in and just get complete setting training, just touching ball after ball. And that's really our philosophy, is getting as your hands on that ball as much as possible, because it's repetition that's going to make it natural for you.
How many instructors do you have?
We have 4 coaches, and then we have 1 dedicated skills coach in addition to that.
Now, do you have actual teams that compete?
Yes, yes. Those are our 4 main teams that we have this year. And we go to 5 New England regional volleyball tournaments throughout the season. So our first one is in March, and then we'll go straight through to May. And that really happens that you go in, you get seeded, and every single time you play, you get reseeded. So what's great about the club season is kids get so many touches on the ball that they, in one day of the, you're getting as much as you would get in about 3 weeks of competition in the
Are you using volleyball machines then as well? The like pitching machines that you can load volleyballs on and they repetitively...
Easy. Not yet. Next year,
Okay.
right? So, no, we definitely have some of the machines that we're getting. We're really excited about these new systems. But right now, the only machines we have are our hands to toss them.
When did you start up? How long have you been doing this?
Right here with
Right,
Team
Team
Evolution.
Evolution.
Yep, so we just started this year. So our tryouts were in November. And then we got the kids at late November, early December. And then we had all our teams registered. And we started practicing in January.
So are you going up against all these other teams from New England that
Smash, Pumas, those sorts
Yes,
of teams?
we are, and we're excited to do that. Yeah, so the girls just got their gear, and they were all very excited, right? That's what matters to them. So we all laugh. But it's really exciting to do that. And to be honest with you, all of our competitors, so to speak, are just like another big volleyball family. I mean, they all believe in growing the sport. And are we competitors? Yeah, but ultimately, there are enough coaches and enough courts to go around where everybody can play. And, we refer people back and forth. I used to coach for Pumas. It's a fabulous program. I coached for Smash. So I really believe that as long as you're putting your hands on a ball and playing volleyball as much as possible, that's what's going to get you ahead, especially in a town like Melrose.
Where are the girls from, most of the girls?
Most of our girls are from this immediate area. So
Now, you're located in Woburn, right?
Yes. So we have kids that, I think our farthest south is Bedford, that we have somebody. So we've got kids mostly Saugus, Melrose, Wakefield, Andover, Reading.
Now, do they have to try out for your teams?
They do. They do have to try out. And we had a tremendous turnout for tryouts. I mean, we had some kids that said, the commitment's too much for me, because really, unlike other clubs in the area, what really sets us apart is that we do college meetings with each one of the kids to say, what are your goals? What kind of college do you want to look at? And we create a book that says, okay, this is Alyssa. She prefers a small liberal arts school. These are her strengths. This is where she wants to go. These are her goal schools that she wants to do. And so we work with them that way. And then also that training piece of it. Most people offer it as a discount at another place, but that's what we do. That's our core product. So we just get them in there, and it's non-negotiable. And if you play basketball, you just waive your training to the spring season, and you start up as soon as basketball ends.
So the girls that don't make the team can still be part of your program and train, right?
Absolutely, and we had people who didn't want to play, so what we did is we said, as soon as we have our skills sessions up and running, we want you to come back. If you want to come and train, if you are at a different club and you want to come and do the performance training, we want people to do that. And then afterwards, we're having a February vacation skills clinic. That's open to anyone. That's not just Team Evolution. I mean, that's run by Athletic Evolution. There'll be sub-high school kids from 8 to 10 in the morning every single day of school vacation week, and then 10 to 12, it'll be the high school kids. And we'll really break that down into your skill. So if you're a libero, we do all defense and just hit balls at you.
So how many courts do you have at the facility?
At our facility right now, we practice with 2 courts. Well, we have 1, and then we can split it into 2. But we're lucky enough that our coaches are all so committed that you really have 2 coaches per 10 kids for the whole day. So we split them up into 2 groups.
Why would someone come to Team Evolution over another program? Is it mostly for the training? Most of these other programs don't have training. They just have pick a team and they just practice volleyball?
I think I would hope that the kids come to Team Evolution for 3 reasons. Number 1, the coaching staff is so committed, and they're doing a really great job. Then the second thing is we talk about accountability with our kids a lot, and that's what happens on and off the court. So not only are you accountable to try to be the best volleyball player you can be, it's you've got to make sure your grades are up, which really resonates with the parents. You know, I had one kid say, "I haven't come to practice all week because I have exams. Academics first." You know, she happens to be like 5'2", so she's probably not going to be on the pro beach circuit either. But you know, but it's true. It's about academics, because someday when you go to be in the college level, if you're not performing in the classroom, you're not afforded the ability to perform on the court. So the training, you know, the accountability and the coaching.
Now you said after May, when it ends in May, they still can come there. Are you open all year long?
Yes, we are. So Athletic Evolution as a training facility is open, and then we'll have scheduled days that are volleyball days. So we do individual skill sessions, and so I can do one-on-one with a setter.
Like in June or July you could do it?
Starting right in May. So we'll do that. So there'll be different levels. So there's a level that's an hour of skills and an hour of physical conditioning, and that's probably our lowest, most developmental level. And then there'll be a level where they'll do the same thing that we're doing here. So they'll come in and do small group training, and then they'll do, you know, for volleyball. So they'll go in and, you know, play a game-like situation for an hour, but they'll do their 2 hours of performance training ahead of time. And then we're going to create play dates. That'll be Tuesday and Thursday nights in Wakefield on the Common. And so that the kids can just play a drop-in rate, pay a drop-in rate for that one.
Now, what's your experience in volleyball? When did you start playing in your high school? Did you play high school, college?
Sure. So I started when I was just little. I was 8. And so I remember feeling that I can't get it over the net piece. And it's easier to, you know, it was a long time ago. You know, the kids laugh and say, "Is that when you used to stitch the balls yourself?" Nice. Go run a lap. So, I did that. Then I played for Providence College. I was a setter and a defensive specialist. And but in high school, I played for an all-girls high school.
Where was that?
In Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Yep. So, and they start playing really early in Wisconsin.
Is it really big in Wisconsin?
It's huge. It's huge. When I first started coaching in Massachusetts, I picked up a JV position. And I got there and I said, "Okay, where are my setters?"
So they start playing outdoors when the snow melts in July?
That's right. You can play in the snow. You just have to bundle up. So, no, but you know, I got into the gym and I said, "Where are my setters?" And they all just looked at me like, "What's a setter?" And I was like, "Oh no, where do I quit?" And they didn't know how to rotate. And to me, that's just, it was foreign. I didn't even know how to teach that. I was like, "Whoa, that's just something," like I feel like you learn to walk, you learn to rotate, you learn to pass, and I didn't know what to do. I had to call my very first fundamental coach and say, "You got to tell me how to fundamentally teach these kids. Like, what's the first thing I do? I've never had to tell somebody how their hands should be."
Well, I think, with no disrespect to the coaches, I think the hardest thing for the local kids to develop is hitting. I mean, they become good defenders and reasonable servers, but a lot of them still struggle to hit because they can't hit down consistently. You know, so I don't know. Part of that is girls as a group don't always jump as much as boys. And I mean, girls can jump; they just don't jump. So.
Right. Sometimes you couldn't put the piece of paper that's on the desk under their feet, and we laugh. We say, "Check your feet for cement," but that's part of our training. That's what we do. Is we're teaching them to jump.
So you're doing plyometrics and box jumping.
Absolutely.
And that kind of
stuff. Body strength things that they're doing to get them up there. But I also think that there's some mental block with them that they go and take an approach, and you'll watch video of it, and they're explosive in their start of their approach, and then they stop. It's like somebody whispers to them, "Wait a second," and it's staying behind the ball and getting that timing toward the ball. But once they connect with it, they always get mad at me because as soon as they connect and do it the right way, I say, "Stop, close your eyes, imagine how that felt," so that you remember what that feels like, and they're all like, "Who's looking at me?"
Now, you as a coach, now we've had this talk a number of times, Ron and I. To me, a great volleyball team has got to be great serving. If you're a team that really serves the ball hard, maybe once in a while hits it along, but it's really tough to return. To me, if you're doing that in practice, then the girls are becoming better bumpers. You're getting to the setter where she wants the ball, and then you're becoming a lot better consistently with a hard serve. What do you think about that? Are you more getting the ball over the net? Or are you more teaching them to really, hit with a lot of velocity and put pressure on the defense right off the bat?
Every kid will tell you that we start as a club. Our practice starts with passing because really the whole game starts with a pass. Yes, serving the ball over the net, absolutely, and that's mechanics. And that's confidence. I mean, serving is confidence first, but it's the passing and being able to get off the line. So that's really what I have always been raised in the game of volleyball to do. And I pass. And if they can't hit the target, I say, well, if you can't hit the target, there's no set, there's no hitting. We just want to hit the ball. Too bad. You can't pass the ball. Let's go. So that's what, but the serving is huge because once you can serve the ball over the net, now if somebody's in the tank with their passing game, you just say, serve it at number 2. And they're like, that's mean, coach.
Yeah, they do that. But to me, that's so big, though, because we have a great high school volleyball coach, Coach Charlie. He's my daughter just loved playing for him. His daughters did. Real good coach. There's one thing that I've not agreed with.
No, I mean, his generic philosophy is that he wants you to get it over the net.
He gives an award out for the person who has the high percentage. Well, the highest percentage is the girls just flopping the ball over the net every time. The other team's coming back and jamming it right back at you. And I'm saying, why is he giving an award out for that when basically it's hurting the team? Even though the girls think that it's good that you have a higher percentage over the net, but they're returning your set and they're spiking every time because your serve is so easy. I think the girl that maybe may hit it long a couple of times, but 90% of the time is getting that serve in, and it's a tough serve where they can't get it to the setter where she wants it, is more important. What do you think about that? I mean, that's the area that
I think being an aggressive server is very important, but when it comes down to that play, I mean, ultimately, you have kids that can't get past that mental block of it. So I always have the kids aim for the 6th position, which is middle back. And because if you miss either way, and if you serve aggressively to the 6th position, and it's a good hard serve, your consistent serve, if you miss either way, you might serve it high enough that the girl's going to reach up, or it'll tag her hand as it's supposed to be out. But you do need that. But I think that getting the ball in play, I'd rather, in a clutch situation, I want the safest serve. But, I think that it depends. I mean, Melrose is blessed with kids that can, crush the ball. And they have great fundamentals because they're starting early. Right. And when we started this team, I said, we got to get the kids from Melrose.
Well, I think they're starting early, and so many of the kids are playing off season, so they're getting a wealth of experience that our kids never really had. I mean, our kids enjoyed it and played a lot, but not...
Start as freshmen.
Yeah, right.
Not as starting earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the group, that's the age that I started coaching, where they didn't know how to rotate, and I was like... But I think that now kids grow up in Melrose, and they think, I want to go and play volleyball at Melrose High. Or I want to... If you're growing up here and you go to play at AC or you go to play at Austin Prep, you say, I'm going to play volleyball because it's part of our heritage in Melrose. And I think that's why I couldn't wait to pick up those young kids from Melrose and say, come on, let's go, let's grow with you, because I love that. And they've got that, it's got that, wonderful program that he built. And
it's like basketball used to be.
You see the little girls at the games,
but better.
You see the little girls at the game, and they want to be part of something special. And programs like yours offer them a way to get there.
Yeah, and they have new equipment. So there's an under 12 ball that's lighter, but it's the same regulation size. It's lighter. It allows them to develop their form rather than, so they don't feel like they are going to crush their shoulders and get hurt. So the national governing body of USA Volleyball has called to the distributors to say, create equipment that we can use so that these little kids can start to play.
How do players get in touch with your program?
So they can go on to the Athletic Evolution website, which is athletic-evolution.com, and then there's a Team Club Sports button that they can go on, Team Evolution, or they can call us. It's 781-935-7701, and I'm extension 16.
In lacrosse, too. You have lacrosse there, too.
Yeah,
right?
the lacrosse program's outstanding, and they've been there for a whole year ahead of us, so they paved the way for us, and so we've been able to kind of jump on their coattails as a sister, but Trina has an unbelievable program there, and the kids are, I think the neatest thing about our program is girls can be rough on one another, but we are blessed with such good kids. They're just fantastic kids, and they're on and off the court, and that's what we say. It's all about character.
Well, thank you for joining us and training up our younger players.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in.
All right.
Okay. Welcome back. We'd be remiss if we didn't have a little bit of Super Bowl post-mortem. Now, I don't want to be boastful, but I did pick the Giants by 4 points.
And I said, what?
And you had been right if Welker had caught the ball that was in his hands, and he is an all-pro receiver, but he's not Bill Buckner. Not that we feel that bad about it.
Really, Ron, the game went exactly the way I thought it would go. I thought that the Patriots' offensive line would control the Giants' defensive line. They controlled them. Brady, most of the game, had time to throw the ball. I thought the defense would play well enough to win. Problem is, I thought that I thought his bubble would burst. I thought he'd throw maybe 1 or 2 key interceptions. The Patriots would get some turnovers. That didn't happen. The Patriots worked on stripping the ball for that game more than they have all year. Stripped the ball 3 times. One time they come up with it, they have 12 men on the field. The other 2 times, the Giants were lucky enough to recover it. So, I thought it went exactly the way I thought it would go.
Well, the defense played pretty well. I mean, really, they did. Manningham made an incredible catch. The defensive backs were all over him.
They played well enough to win. And the offense, the shame of it, Ron, is the offense played well enough to win. When you look at it, one play here and there, and that's teams that win Super Bowls make the plays.
Absolutely.
The Pats didn't make it. Now, one of the best sure-handed receivers in football can't hold on to that pass by Brady.
Right. So I don't feel bad in the sense that, the best team didn't win. The best team did win. The Giants executed. They did what they needed to do. They took care of business. They didn't make the key mistakes in the wrong times. They caught the ball. Certain things I can't understand. I can't believe Nix came back into the game after Chung hit him. He had to have a concussion. He was staggering on the side of the field after that hit, but he managed to get back in the game and catch some more balls.
But all the big plays went against them. I mean, all the key plays. The 3 fumbles, we just talked about that. Ninkovich jumping offside when the Giants would have had a kick from inside their 10.
That was a key play of the game.
And then when the Patriots scored their second touchdown, the beginning of the second half, that was the second touchdown in a row, 2 long drives. They come down, Brady 16 for 16 passing. What does my favorite offensive coordinator do the next time they get the ball? He decides to go with a 2-back offense, brings the fullback in the game, tries to run the first. They have the Giants defense reeling there. Reeling. 2 long drives in a row. Giants were feeling it, and he decides he's going to try to run. He gets thrown for a 1-yard loss. Well, then the next play he keeps a 2-back offense.
Well, don't worry. Now he's the coach at Penn State.
No, but really, I mean, I sit at the end of the game. I mean, I went to work the next day like everybody else.
And the Patriots have
just sick over
2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a third, and we can probably trade those down for about 17 fourths.
But you know what it is, Ron? Though, I mean, the future is great for them. It's just the same. They should have won the Super Bowl and they didn't. But the future is definitely great for Patriot fans. I mean, once we get over this stupid loss, and a loss that. I mean, they were lucky to be there, and the Giants were lucky to be there. The Giants should have lost to San Fran. We should have lost to Baltimore. Both teams were lucky, but once we got there, I mean, the game went exactly the way I thought it would go, but we just didn't make the big plays.
The biggest controversy in football right now is Peyton Manning. On March 8th, he's due a $28 million payout from the Colts if they want to retain his services. Now, the Colts have the first pick, so they can pick Andrew Luck if they want. And it was revealed that Manning had another neck operation in September, so that means 4 procedures. And, even if somehow he can still throw the ball, you still have to be able to turn your head to see the receiver that you're throwing it to, and he had a cervical fusion. So Irsay, the Colts owner, has already come out and said if Manning wants to stay here, he's going to have to restructure his contract.
Yeah, and the bonus. I read that today. But what's going to happen is they're not going to give him the bonus. He's going to become a free agent. I mean, Indianapolis is not going to fool around with that. They're not going to give him the bonus and then try to trade him, because if he can't come back, they lose the $23 million, whatever it is.
Well, the best article was in the Washington Post today, where the Washington Post reporters say Manning is definitely coming to Washington because we throw money around like manhole covers, and it's always poorly spent. So,
but that'd be a good team, and Miami would be a great team. I mean, the Jets would definitely be going for him too. I mean, they have Sanchez. They're gonna want to be sure that he can come back and play. But if they're sure that he can play, Jets are gonna go after him. I mean, if he's a free agent.
Right, but there's going to be a lot of money exchanging hands no matter where he goes.
But the Pats are in good shape for the future to run. I mean, just look at them. They're in real good shape.
Pretty much it's a certainty that Randy Moss is coming back.
They got to get an end. Maybe Lloyd from Denver. I mean, they're saying Lloyd. I mean,
well, they're always trying to lowball people, and that's, Lloyd wants to be with McDaniels. Apparently, he really liked the offense. And he doesn't have to learn the offense because he already knows it. So he can just come in here, familiar with the terminology, knowing how to read the routes. The guy's a great player.
Look at that offense, though, Ron. I mean, you look at it, if they get someone like Lloyd, he's one of those receivers who's strong, can go down 15, 20 yards, stretch the defense a little. And if they sign Welker with the two tight ends, that offense is going to be unbelievable. I mean, they were great this year. They're going to be even better with a real good end. And that offensive line, just look at that. I mean, we thought that Vollmer was going to be playing in that Super Bowl game. He didn't. That hurt him big time. But with Vollmer and Solder, and you have Cannon, who'll be a second-year player,
right,
and then the rest of the linemen, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Mankins will be there. I don't know what they're going to do with Light. That was only a one-year contract.
Cannon looked pretty good while he was in there. He didn't play that much this year, but if he could just stand there, he's so big.
But you know what it is? They got real good running backs now, where Ridley and Vereen was hurt. I mean, so they don't need any running backs.
And I think I would think they'd probably sign Ben-Jarvis Green-Ellis. He's
a free agent.
Yeah, he's not so attractive to other teams. They have to pay the guy, but can you believe the guy has not fumbled in his career? Right. That's pretty ridiculous. Well, obviously, fans want to hear about local sports, and we had Coach Mike Kasprzak on the boys earlier, and the boys basketball team has just played exceptional basketball lately. They're playing as a team. They play hard. They're not making a lot of mistakes. Sometimes it rankles us a little bit. They try to make the fancy play over the scoring play, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you have players like Adams, Sherlock, Welsh in the backcourt with them, and with Gillis, Perot, and Jones up front. And then you have Young and Barney coming off the bench too. I mean, they just have a real good team. Basically, they like to run. They're a transition team. In the tournament, if they get up against a real good defensive team, they may cause them problems. You need Adams and Sherlock to break down that defense a little, to keep that defense moving and space them better. But that's the one problem I think they would run into, is they play against a real good defensive team that plays the zone and stops them from running. They may, run into problems in the tournament.
Well, and we feel fortunate that we're watching young players. We should get an opportunity to watch them for several years ahead. Adams and Perot, both sophomores, terrific talents.
Oh, Perot's just unreal, and he hasn't played as much as, Adams is the one player. People are talking Division I player, potentially a sophomore. But Perot is a sophomore. Great soccer player, Ron, but doing a tremendous job for this team. And we both love the way he plays the game.
I'd like to ask him sometime the difference between playing soccer and playing at a high level in front of nobody and playing basketball at a high level in front of 400 or 500 people.
Yeah, he just fits in so well with Gillis down low and Jones. Makes me really happy about the way the team's going is Jones has gotten away from taking the three-point shots, that he did earlier in the year. He can hit it once in a while, but he's really helped them down low. And when you get the three of them down low with Sherlock and Adams and Welsh in there at times, but Sherlock and Adams are the two that can break down a defense. And it was good to see Sherlock in the second half against Wakefield, realize that he was better than most of those Wakefield players, and he played like that. He didn't score all that much, but he ran the offense when Adams was in foul trouble.
And on the girls' side, it's been a roller coaster season. They got off to a tough start playing against the Middlesex League large leaders, and then they went on a really good run, won 8 games out of 9, and then more recently they've been struggling a little bit, not from lack of effort, but maybe not having as much energy as they had earlier, although they played better the other night.
Right. I mean, winning 8 out of 9 and going 9-5, I mean, you figured that they were going to win most of their games the rest of the season the way they were playing. And that last game they won to get their 9th victory against Burlington, we both said that these girls they're not enjoying the game. They weren't enjoying playing. You could see it. They were playing a slow-down game. They beat Burlington because Burlington was just so bad in that game. Burlington didn't go to their 2 big people down low.
Well, the zenith of the season came against Belmont when they played a much more open style, ran, and were able to put up 67 points, including a fantastic game by Brooke Bell, who was leading the offense, penetrating, had 18 points, and really did everything you could ask from a point guard. And then all of a sudden, it seems like we've gone into the controlled half-court, slow-it-down basketball, and it's like the life has been sucked out of the team.
Well, they were enjoying themselves in a number of games. That's why they won 8 out of 9. They were enjoying playing that type of game. They didn't enjoy the Burlington game. And I said that during the Burlington game. I don't like the way this game's going. It could hurt them in the next game. Well, they played Wakefield, who hadn't had a win in the Middlesex League. And Wakefield looked like they were one of the top teams in the league, and Melrose looked like they were one of the worst teams in the league in that game. And then they came up against Wilmington and just played. They weren't inspired. I mean, it was just a game they just went out and played. But then the Stoneham game, the last game they played like they did in that when they won 8 out of 9. They just couldn't hit shots. Ball wouldn't fall.
Right. One of your popular sayings, which is so true, is you have to find your identity as a team. And when you come up through a system, which historically Melrose girls basketball was a transition team, aggressive defense, transition, particularly off steals and turnovers, leading to easy baskets. And when you slow it down, you play in the half-court sets, you don't get the same opportunities, and as a result, you've got to play incredible defense if you're not scoring very many points.
Right, and they have a big game tomorrow night against Watertown. If they beat Watertown at Watertown, they'll make the tournament. They still have that tournament at the end of this year, 2 games, and they play. I know in that tournament there's a couple of pretty good teams. Tewksbury's also in that, and they've already beat Tewksbury once this year, I believe, early in the year.
Right.
So what I'm hoping that they play like they did against Stoneham tomorrow, and if the shots go down, they should be successful. They have to shut down Capola.
Right. The team really had a lot of shots that were, considered high percentage shots, but they just wouldn't go down, and sometimes that's what happens in basketball. You get the opportunities and the ball doesn't fall. But, they need one more game to get into the postseason. I think the goal shouldn't always be just to get to the postseason, but to be able to play well.
That's the key. You want them playing well going into the tournament, too.
Well, you win basketball games by making fewer mistakes than the other team, by forcing the other team into a lot of mistakes, and having quality possessions. And, they have the talent to do it. It's just a matter of getting it done. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph Labella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.